back to another episode of Murg Mayhem, where one take can cause mayhem. Hope everyone's having a good day on this Thursday. I am recording a little later in the day just because there wasn't a lot of information to talk about. I had to because as of now it's 3:42 when I started this recording, and there are only like two headlines that came up. But we're gonna get into it. So no NFL news today. It just feels like after the Super Bowl, everything's kind of calming down after that. But you know what? We have two NBA headlines and just lots of baseball news. So to get into it, we'll start with NBA just because it's short and sweet. Danilo Gallinari. Has reportedly signed with the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, he's only there probably for just in case they need him. He hasn't really played a whole lot this year, but he's only played 32 games. I think he played a little bit with Detroit and then with Washington, but as of now, it is reportedly that he's going to Milwaukee. He doesn't really bring anything to Milwaukee right now. Milwaukee needs defense. That's what they truly need. But you know what? You know, who knows what Milwaukee's going to do? Hopefully they do figure this out, because I mean it'd be a waste as long as Dame is there. If they do not win a championship, the season's a failure. You have a duo that is, just by their names alone, is up with LeBron, AD, Shaq, and Kobe, and Jordan and Pippen. But as far as them two playing together, it's not even close to that. It's like, yeah, their names could get them into that conversation. Like, oh man, hypothetically, it's like, oh my God, Lillard can come in the fourth quarter, freaking close out the game, score 30. Giannis being dominant like Shaq and operating in the paint and getting 28 and 12. But it just hasn't worked so far. Under Adrian Griffin, they were figuring it out. And they were the second team in the East, but now it's just like the points per game for Damian Lillard has gone down quite significantly, and I just don't think that it's going to work this year. Next year they have a better chance because it'll be Doc Rivers' final year under contract, I think. But I'll get into that contract later, maybe, depending on if Milwaukee figures this stuff out. But yeah, Danilo Gallinari, good veteran, has always been a good role player. Played in Denver, a little bit with the Clippers, but we knew him from the Knicks, and then in 2015, 2016, that was his best year. That was him going into his prime, averaged 19, 20 points, and So yeah, I just, it's not confirmed yet, but it's reportedly that he's signing with Milwaukee. And then Thaddeus Young just got picked up by the Phoenix Suns. So he's going to be making an appearance after the All-Star break, I believe, or at least that's what has also been reported. But, who knows if he is going to go over there. It's reported that he will. But Thaddeus Young, good pro, played 23 games this year just because he's also 35. He's an undersized 4 at 6'8", but, since there's no position really anymore, 6'8" as a power forward is perfectly fine. But he's not a three-point shooter at all. But, when he was with Philly, he was one of the better role players for that team and one of the better players in the league at that time. And then since Philly, he's just been a good, basically 10 to 15 per game scorer. about 6 rebounds a game. So he's just a good role player to have. For defensive versatility, could probably guard 2 through 4. But yeah, he's reportedly going to Phoenix. But yeah, those are the only two names as far as NBA headlines or whatever you would say. But yeah, we're gonna jump to MLB because that's a lot of stuff happened today. Colby Allard, he got picked up today by the Phillies, I believe. He got picked up by the Phillies. He was with Texas, and then he got traded to the Angels. But yeah, I'm not really sure where he was last year. It looked like he was with Atlanta last year for like 4 games, and that was it. So he was probably in the minor leagues. But you're getting a lefty, you're getting a left-handed pitcher. He has the potential to be a good bullpen arm. When he was with Texas, he had a decent ERA, I guess, as a bullpen guy, but as a starter, there's no he has no shot at being a starter. It's just, I don't know if he was just on the bad team in 21, but his record was 3-12, and he just So as a reliever, he could be a good potential reliever for Atlanta. But to be honest, I don't even know. I thought I wrote it down. Let me just make sure I know where he's going. Because Phillies, yeah, okay, I was right the first time. But they need some bullpen arms. Even though they have Matt Strahm and Jose Alvarado still, which are 2 really good lefty arms for him. I just know that Colby Allard has a chance to be a good bullpen arm on any team that he goes to. But yeah, that's kind of I would say, nobody in a way. These other names I'm about to say are people know. If you watch baseball and a fan of the game, you know who these players are. If not, there's going to be I'm going to read off some stats for them and also some highlights for them as well. So we're going to start off with Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller, he was an all-star last year for the Pirates. He also was the opening day starter last year for them. He had a bit of a hard time early in his career with Pittsburgh because they didn't know if he should be a bullpen arm or if he should be a starter. Plus, his velocity wasn't really there. He had like a low 90s to mid 90s fastball at the time when he first started, and really the offseason of 22, he figured out how to gain more velocity. There's clips of him on YouTube that I watched to see how he did it. It worked for him. He was an all-star last year, like I said, and he had his first winning season last year, 13-9 for the Pirates. Pirates aren't really a good baseball team right now, just because O'Neal Cruz last year was injured due to a ACL injury, and it happened early in the season. So he's expected to come back and have a potential all-star season. But yeah, Mitch Keller has a fastball, sinker, slider, changeup, curveball. Has all the pitches you need. I just hope that this year he can continue that all-star streak, and with the Cubs not being as strong as pitching, and with the Brewers basically pretty much selling, because we don't know if Brandon Woodruff is going back. Reportedly he's going back, but we have no idea as fans yet. So hopefully he can carry the team to a wild card, because as he is, he has the potential to be that really good ace for him. Even though he is 27, he is getting a little older. but some guys can pitch till they're 38. But obviously, with starters, it's not going to be that long. But he has the potential to get them into the postseason in the future. It just depends on who they bring up as far as hitting and who they sign. But yeah, congratulations to him. He got an extension for 5 years, $77 million. And this year he had to avoid arbitration, so he's getting 5.4 this year. Then after this year, 5 more years after. Um, so good for him. You know, cannot wait to see what he does this year. And I think most of this money, most of that extension is guaranteed. Um, so that's good for him financially. So I'm looking at the details right now, see if he could see that there's a certain amount, but it does not say. But yeah, he's getting that extension, well deserved. The other big name that signed today was Tim Anderson. Thank God, finally somebody finally signed this dude. I'm surprised he was on the board, that he was still on the free agent market this long. Um, I know that he had a terrible year last year as far as Tim Anderson standards, um, but finally somebody picked his ass up. He's only signing for 1 year, $5 million, but he is going to the Marlins. So what do the Marlins have? So I'm going to do, since I last 2 episodes I did AL West teams, since I'm already talking about the Marlins right now with Tim Anderson, with him being an all-star caliber player, because he is. He's been an all-star in 21 and 22, and if he had a decent year, he probably would have been an all-star again last year. So he could have been a 3-time all-star. 2020, short season, was an all-star game. 2019, he probably should have been, just because he had a monster year. He had 335 average, 865 OPS. Power numbers, he's a shortstop, so he's just trying to get on base. And at the time, he had Jose Abreu, Gavin Sheets, Eloy Menace is still there, but was coming up at the time. So they had a decent team. I don't know if they made the playoffs that year or not. Who gives a shit? Because it's the Chicago White Sox. Um, but yeah, from 2019 to 2022, he was arguably the best shortstop in the American League. And last year he fell off. But what does he bring to this team? So the starting rotation, Alcantara, he had a up and down year, but he was really inconsistent. Cy Young in 2021. I think no, 2022. It's 22. Cy Young in 2022. Inconsistent last year. Losing season, which I was kind of surprised, but 151 strikeouts in 184 innings, whip of 1.21. So, he's probably gonna. He's fine. I don't really think that's a big issue for him. He's probably gonna be fine. He's the ace of the staff. We should just all calm down. Jesus Luzardo came over from Oakland last year. He had a 500 season last year, but I really do think he could be one of the best pitchers in the league in the future. And right now, he's still young. He's 26. So he's still figuring it out. He was with Oakland, so a lot of people didn't know who he was. But now, since he's on a good playoff contending team, they do have a chance. Yuri Perez, really young. He had a really good year last year as well, but he did get injured, and they didn't know what to do with him when he came back. They didn't know whether to put him in the bullpen or keep him starting. But or maybe that was Edward Cabrera. One of those two got injured and they didn't know whether to bring him back in the starting rotation or not. Either way, both those guys, Edward Cabrera, Yuri Perez, they are going to be the cornerstones for their pitching for their rotation going forward in the future. Um, it's just Marlins are young, so Edward Cabrera, Yuri Perez, Luzardo, Alcantara, they're going to be there for a while unless Miami doesn't want to sign them, which that would be pretty stupid if they can't. If they can't, that's fine because they don't have the money. But if they don't want to sign them, that's just retarded. And then Max Meyer, he was a rookie last year, another young guy that could potentially be a good pitcher for him as well, but he only pitched in 2 games, so he's still kind of a question mark. But Alcantara, Luzardo, Perez, Cabrera, those are going to be the 4 guys this season most likely. The bullpen, not bad. For Miami, that's as good as they're going to get. Tanner Scott, AJ Puck, Huascar Brazobin. Those 3 guys had a good postseason last year, especially Brazobin. But like I don't know. Bender was pretty decent. It's just the bullpen needs probably a little bit more upgrades. But for Miami, I don't know how much money they do have in cap space to sign free agents like that. But yeah, catcher, Nick Fortes. I'm gonna flip this around to help you guys see the depth chart a little bit. Okay, so this is the catching right as of right now. They still haven't figured out a way to figure out who their catcher is going to be, but just because these 2 guys split the time this year, or last season rather. So I personally think that Nick Fortes is a better catcher just for calling a game. He is younger, just in case if that has anything to do with it. Josh Bell came over in the trade last year, helped him get into the postseason, ended up getting bounced out. But he was with Cleveland. Hopefully he has a better year, because when he was with Pittsburgh and San Diego, that he was a good power guy, and last year he kind of fell off a little bit because he was with Cleveland, and I don't know if it was their approach of their philosophy of hitting that kind of potentially screwed him up, but his power numbers were down quite a bit last year. Luis Arias, he can play multiple positions, first and second. He could probably play third, but that's not. I don't think he's ever played third in the majors. But I would probably have Josh Bell as a DH and have him at first, just because of this guy. But yeah, as second base, they have him here. Luis Arias is probably going to win the batting champion this year as well. I hope he does, just because, one, he's one of my favorite players in the MLB, just because of how different he is. He's a guy that doesn't hit much power. He doesn't hit for much power, but he can definitely get on base, hits for average. I know he was high in hits last year. He had 203 hits. I don't know if that was the league leader or not, but I don't. There's. Okay, I don't know what why is it on spring training? Okay, that was dumb. Okay, I don't know why but he had 203 hits last year, only 10 homers. That's the type of hitter he is. 354 average, OPS over 1,000. So that's he transferred over from the Twins in the trade for Pablo Lopez. Both teams, I'm glad that both teams were able to benefit from the trade, just because I was like, well, you're trading away your best your second best pitcher to the other team, which they needed a starting pitcher, but um, I was like, oh, that's kind of, oh, now it fixes. Okay, whatever. Um, but yeah, career high in hits for him. 316, always been a 300 hitter, and he hit 294 here, and then broke out year 2022. So, I'm glad that both teams were, like I said, benefited from the trade. Okay, please come on. I don't know why my stuff's not working today. But yeah, second base. I think he's going to be the starting second baseman for them. I know John Birdie could play third. It's just I don't know how they're going to construct their lineup because since there is a DH, Jake Berger coming from the White Sox helped them in the postseason push. So they do have quite a bit in offense. They more than what I was expecting because I kind of forgot some of these names that are on this team. So offensively, they could be a good wild card team. I know that they were a wild card team last year, but I mean shortstop. I guess Birdie could play shortstop. I know that he's a very versatile player. As you can see, he's in second base, third base, basically in the corner outfielders potentially. I know he could probably play left field too. I've seen him play there, but yeah, I mean, this guy is going to be definitely an important piece because he could also give Berger a break from third or DH or whatever that Miami needs. Vito Brujan came over from the Rays. He's a good prospect right now. He's a switch hitter. Very, very fast, elite speed. Didn't really play a whole lot. 76 at bats is a small sample size. But okay, why is this happening? Whatever. But yeah, he small sample size hasn't really gotten a chance to be that type of player for any team really. Even when he was with Tampa Bay, he didn't really get a lot of playing time. Didn't get a lot of options. But hopefully he can find a way to get more playing time this year. Brian De La Cruz was a story last year. Just came out of nowhere. He has the potential to be an all-star someday in this league. He's 27, 257, over 1,000 OPS. That which is crazy with I believe this was his first year of him actually playing. I don't understand. There's no way he didn't play 18 games. Spring fucking training. Oh my God. Good gracious. I guess, let me just mix that up because I guess everything is on spring training. But yeah, 2023 over 715 OPS. I guess that I read it wrong because I have my glasses on. I can't read. but yeah, showed out in the second half of the season last year. Hopefully he can maintain that going into this year.
Sends one deep
center field. Jazz Chisholm, please stay healthy. Like, he has the talent to be one of the best players in the MLB, but he's for some reason can't stay healthy right now. I know that last year he played center field. Let me just fix this. Just played he said that he wants to play 162 games, which is almost impossible. He hasn't played over 100 since 2021. In 2021, that was his rookie year, and he had a decent rookie year, 18 homers, 248 average, 728 OPS, 53 RBIs. For a second baseman coming into the league, after a short season 2020. That's coming back from that is a pretty good season for a rookie. And then 2022, 60 games, and then last year 97 games. I really don't want him to be a what if, but his trajectory is going to be a what if career. Because if he can't play 100 games, at least 130. If he can't play at least 124 to 130 games, it's going to be he's going to be a what if career. That's just all I got to say about it. He has the talent. It's just, can he stay healthy? Dane Myers, in Jazz Chisholm's absence, Dane Myers is a really good defensive outfielder. Got a lot of chance to play. Got a lot of opportunities to play second half of the year last year. He only played 22 games, so it was a small sample size, but he does have the potential to be their starting center fielder. He's very fast, strong arm. OPS of 644 in that limited amount of time. I would say that's a success for him, just because he's only played 22 games, and baseball is hard enough to maintain and have a stable career. So I feel like he should be on the roster next year, but it depends on how he performs in spring training. And then right field, I think that I feel like Jesus Sanchez is going to get that starting nod just because of his bat. Obviously, Garcia is a better defender than he is, but Jesus Sanchez is a power bat in the lineup. 14 homers, 360 at bats. Let's just see how many games he played to try to see his production level. 125 games. He's going to strike out way more than he gets on base. As he's consistent, 250. Slugging percentage is in the 400s. So he's 26. They're just a young team that needs to figure it out. That's all that the Marlins are. I just think that with the way that some of these guys are hitting, he's a power guy, so he's going to strike out quite a bit. He's going to strike out a lot. And all these guys, Sanchez, Berger, Bell, they're all power hitters. I will say that Josh Bell and Berger are better contact hitters than Sanchez, but that's here nor there. But they have a chance. They did get bounced out by the Phillies last year, I think, in the wild card game. But that's just because you're dealing with Harper, Wheeler, Real Muto. That the team was just so stacked that they weren't going to win that series. But they have a good chance this year to get further into the playoffs, because now everyone's going to be healthy, and you got to play the game. That's the reason why baseball, I feel like, is the best sport, because you can basically, like, it takes effort, right? We all know that every sport takes a lot of effort to play. But football, if you want it more and you're more intense, you're most likely going to win. If you're in basketball, if you don't play defense, you're probably not going to win, unless you just shoot off. You just have a night to where you make every shot. But baseball, just because you want it more doesn't mean you're gonna win every time, because the skill level is so high and the bar is so high that one little mistake can mess everything up. A good example is Rick Ankiel from the Cardinals. Shout out to Cardinal Nation. But Rick Ankiel was one of the better starting pitchers in the league, and then one day he couldn't pitch anymore. To this day, he still can't figure out why he wasn't able to throw a baseball ever again. As far as on the mound, he said he got the yips and everything. It got to his head. He got nervous all of a sudden, just like that. And then he transitioned, went back to the minor leagues, became an outfielder, and became one of the best defensive outfielders in the league. He had the strongest arm from a center fielder position I've ever seen. Not only from the accuracy that he had, but the distance traveled, the accuracy as far as from center field to home, and the amount of fear that people had running on him. But yeah, I blanked out for just a second. Yeah, I'm sorry, I blanked out. I can't remember what we were talking about. I apologize. Hopefully after that you don't dislike the video. But yeah, I just forgot what, just blanked. But yeah, and the last signing I will say is the best underrated signing this year in free agency. Gio Urshela finally got picked up. Gio Urshela, man, was on the Guardians or Indians at the time. Was on the Indians at the time when they went to the World Series against Chicago. He's been a decent player in the league. He is 32. Signed to the Tigers. So I'm Detroit has done very well this offseason. And very rarely do a lot of people say, great job, Detroit. I don't know if the Lions had anything to do with it. But hey, they are going in the right direction. They finally got a very good defensive third baseman. Probably got robbed of Gold Gloves because of his when he was with New York and Cleveland. He's always been a good defensive fielder. Like, you could not go wrong with him at third. He wasn't the best offensively in his career. He started finally learning how to, put it together. You know, he when he played in 2015, he was only 23 years old. Went back down. Came back in 2017. They, traded him away or let him walk. I can't remember how exactly he went to Toronto, but only played 19 games in Toronto. I don't know if he got injured. I can't remember what happened to him. I don't know if he got injured. I don't know if he got DFA'd. But regardless, he didn't play there for very long. And then when he went to the Yankees, something clicked. I don't know if it was the hitting coach, different approach in the offseason. But that year, he hit .314, OPS of .858. And as far as defensive stats, I'm going to try to find that. As far as trying to find that defensive run saved, that is always a key stat because defensive runs saved among average. So in 2019, as a left field, he played one game left field, didn't really do anything. Third base, defensive runs saved at 5. No, that was 2020. But he's always been a good defensive player for when he was with New York. 314, like I said. And then 2020, shortened season, but he did hit 298. Was able to continue that pace. 2021, 267, a little bit a down year, but he was still productive. Had more RBIs in 2020 just because of the longer season. And then 2022, they let him walk. Minnesota picked him up, 285. Figured it out again. I don't know if it was just a slump year, but the Yankees have always struck out way more than they have walked. It seems like And then last year he got injured with the Angels. I guess the Angels, that their curse is they get injured. They get injured and they suck. They play very well, and then up, you're done. Yeah, you had your time. But yeah, he hit 299. He had 299 as an Angel, 703 OPS. So as far as OPS, he's been up and down. But as far as on base, very consistent slugging, a little bit down in year slugging, uh, but yeah, he's a good average contact hitter. It just sucks that he wasn't able to stay healthy last year. But when he goes to Detroit, he's probably going to be the opening day third baseman for them, if not first, second, third, whatever position that they need him to fit, he can fit just because of his versatility. But yeah, he signed a 1-year, $1.5 million deal. So I don't know what numbers he's going to be, but I'm just glad that Detroit is getting a good veteran guy who's can help defensively, because defensively the Tigers haven't really been the best defensively in the last few years, and that could solve their third baseman problem potentially, because I know that Colt Keith has a chance to be their second baseman, because he can also Keith can also play third as well. But if they bring a guy like him, Gio Urshela, into the mix, then I feel like Colt Keith is probably going to be moving to second. But let me just double check to see who's their third baseman right now. Yeah, he's probably going to be their third baseman. Andre Lipsius came in. He's a rookie. Came in, played a few games with them last year. Zach McKinstry can play there, but yeah, I'm not really sure where he's going to be. He could play shortstop, because I know that he's a better average hitter than Javier Baez is right now, and I have no idea what in the world is going on with him. But yeah, that's all the MLB news I'm going to bring up today, just because I could go on and on about this. Hopefully I can't wait to talk about Detroit before the season starts, because I have so much expectations for this team, because I believe they could potentially be a postseason team. So I'm going to leave that to another day. But that is all for MLB news and all the sports news in general. So my special segment for Thursdays is a Throwback Thursday. And basically what Throwback Thursday is for me is that I want to celebrate all the things that I want to give, or as far as PTI, happy anniversary to this, let's celebrate this, blah, blah, blah. I want to Throwback Thursday for me is to bring back everything that happened on this day in history. So they one of the earliest. I guess this is when road racing was first starting out, and when the Daytona 500 was invented or created. Lee Petty drove an Oldsmobile in 1959 to win the first Daytona 500. He won it against Johnny Beauchamp, who was driving a Thunderbird, and they were side by side in the last lap, and then Petty was able to win it neck and neck at the finish line. This happened in 2008. Long time after that, Lindsey Vonn, accomplished Olympic skier for the women's team of the United States. She won the first American downhill crown, or at least in the World Cup, and that was the first time since 1996 at Picabo Street. So I know that she recently retired from skiing. She was one of the best in that sport and one of the best skiers of all time in the Olympics. So just to give her a shout out and give her some love because of her, just for her performance and representing what the United States is about at these games and being that public figure for us. And then most recently, about 6 years ago, the U.S. women's hockey team ended a 20-year drought to win the gold medal against Canada. Canada's always been a hockey country. I know basketball is getting a little bit better, getting a little bit bigger up there with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Dylan Brooks, R.J. Barrett, and Jamal Murray. So they're getting a little bit more popular in basketball. But they are a hockey country, and yeah, that's all that happened, or at least all the things that I could find, and in sports history, or at least some of the things I wanted to highlight. But speaking of hockey, just to throw out this one last little snippet of information for you guys, in 1980, the U.S. hockey team beat the Soviet Union in Lake Placid. They won 4-3 in the Winter Olympics in the medal round. I'm not really sure what medal they did get, but they did receive a medal. So that is all for today. It's kind of shocking that not a lot of news is happening lately. I do know that Blake Snell and Cody Bellinger still haven't fucking signed. Wow. I don't understand why it's taking them so long. I mean, shoot, even JD Martinez is still out there for free right now. It's just free roaming right now. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked that spring training has started and there hasn't been any big free agent yet signed except for Tim Anderson today. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's episode. I hope everybody enjoyed. Comment down below if you want to agree or disagree with any of my takes that I said today, and hit that subscribe button too for me. I do greatly appreciate it. So I will see you guys next time. Have a good rest of your day, and I will see you for Fiction Friday. So peace out, guys.